Hey, Andrew, guess what?
What's that, Sam?
Ehlers is starting to score.
He's heating up, baby.
Welcome back to another episode of the Caniac Report. And Andrew, we have this episode's going to be a pretty good episode. We have two wins to recap in this episode.
Two wins, two very different games, but it seems like the Canes are starting to get a little bit of health and finding their stride as well.
Exactly. Obviously, we'll be recapping the Rangers and the Minnesota game. That Minnesota game was something. We're recording this right after, moments after the Minnesota game. But first things first, just the simple things I like to cover in every episode. We have a great partnership with SeatGeek. You get $20 off of your first purchase if you use promo code Caniac Reports, all one word. It is a great deal if you're trying to save money on some tickets. If you're trying to go to a comedy concert, a Hurricanes game, or whatever, just know that that promo is there for you if you have not used it already. Another thing, too, for you guys listening on Apple, we have the Caniac Report Plus, just another way to listen to us, but it is ad free. And another thing, too, if you're watching us on YouTube, please be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another episode. And if you're listening to us wherever you get your podcasts, well, please leave a rating and a review. It really, really does help us out. And Andrew, just a couple of NHL news because we do have two games to cover that I want to get to. But one is Dallas Stars. It was announced that they're going to be hosting the 2027 Stadium Series game at the Cowboys Arena. What is your reaction to that when you saw that?
I think that's going to be a hot ticket. That seems like one of the top tier stadiums in the country, and who knows? Maybe we'll have to make the trip to check it out.
Yeah, possibly. We know Stars fans are going to love that game, but who knows? Maybe Cowboys fans will enjoy that game. I know a couple of Cowboys fans. If I don't know if you follow the NFL, Andrew.
Well, to your Cowboys fans, friends, I say bless your heart, and the '90s were great. I agree.
Yeah, one of my coworkers is a Cowboy fan. Shout out to him. Um, Another thing too is obviously uh, it, it was hit last year. Ovechkin hit Gretzky's record last year. That was all the craze. Well, you know what? Ovechkin is the only NHL player to hit 900 goals. Andrew, that is again Ovechkin. You look at his goal resume; it's incredible. I mean, I don't know if anybody's going to beat that. Do you think anybody's going to beat that in the near future?
No one I can think of off the top of my head. I know people in Toronto will point out that Austin Matthews, I
Yeah,
think his goals per game is actually higher than Ovechkin's is, but the poor guy can't stay healthy. So as it is right now, and especially with goalies seeming to only get better and better now, I think that's going to be a record that probably stands the test of time, just like Gretzky's point record.
yeah, definitely. But I mean, it's amazing Ovechkin scoring 900 goals, and I will admit, even though I respect the dude for hitting these records and all that, Andrew, uh, it's to me frustrating at the same time that he can do it with just one basic move of being in his in his office, like on the power play, that one timer, and that's where most of his goals come from. If you look at all those 900 goals,
Right, yeah, the guy's been in the league for 2 decades, and at no point has anybody thought, "Hey, why don't we just put one of our plugs on the ice and just lay down in front of him
exactly.
something?" But I mean, the shot is absolutely incredible. He's been a face of the NHL for 2 decades now, and, obviously, aside from these moments, we don't have a whole lot of nice things to say about the guy, but just for the respect of the game, the love of the game, congrats to him, and, I really enjoyed, Jordan Bennington trying to take the puck and stuff it in his pants.
Oh man, I will admit that was very very funny. But regardless, I like records being broken. I don't know about Andrew. Well, I mean, do you like records being broken in general?
Oh yeah, I mean, records were meant to be broken. That
Yep.
means that the game is growing, and I think it was a real testament to the culture around hockey that, not to throw shade at other sports, but like take like basketball, for example. The Jordan LeBron debate's always going to be heated. Those two guys are never going to outwardly root for each other. Watching how Gretzky was so proud of Ovechkin for beating his record that he's held for so long, that's a testament to the game, that even the top-notch stars who have been able to live off of their legacy are still just so excited to see these guys continue to grow it.
Exactly. I'm happy you kind of brought up the NBA there, just because my my dad he does not like either of those players. He's a baby boomer. He grew up with Larry Bird, so it's
Yeah.
just I find that funny.
Well, trust me, people in Boston are happy to make the same argument for him. But no shade to those two guys, great athletes in their own right. But even as someone who played basketball and got a tremendous amount from the game, hockey's the best sport. It
Oh,
just
I do. I do. I listen. I would rather watch hockey any day of the week over any other sport. That's just me. Um, but that's kind of it for NHL news. But let's get to some Hurricanes news, Andrew. And what's funny, like moments after we recorded our last episode, I mean, we were talking about Dominic Finsor being sent down. Well, he got called up again, and I kind of found that odd just because I thought, again, we sent him down because we thought Keandre Miller might be back. He did not play the Rangers game, but he did play the game tonight against Minnesota. But don't you just find that funny how sometimes like we send players down and up, like, and I mean, I don't want to say crazy is the right word, but it's just so nonchalantly, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the reality of this business for a lot of these guys who aren't
Yeah.
your bona fide players. So Fen Sori is probably rebooking planes 5 times to know probably pretty well that he's not playing. He's just there just in case, like Chatfield came up with like with like a cold or something. So um hopefully the team has been taking care of him, paying for his dinner and everything. But aside from that, I mean, welcome to pro sports, buddy. Best of luck.
Yep. Welcome to pro sports. Another thing too, this is for you people who kind of live in the Raleigh area, but obviously they do this every year. But the Hurricanes are doing their Canes Corner show, their 1 hour interview show with whatever player that they have at the local, and they're having the first player is Nikolai Ehlers, who we will be talking about here in our game recaps. Another piece of news, Andrew, this was really big because it showed that the Hurricanes were finally starting to get healthy. And Keandre Miller, he was taken off of IR. And I mean, I will admit, I was impressed with his performance against Minnesota.
Yep, he didn't miss a beat. I've been impressed with him pretty much this entire season that he's been here. It seems like that learning curve that we were kind of bracing people for to start the season, he hasn't shown that at all.
No.
And then I believe it was him and Chatfield on the penalty kill had almost a one-time breakaway opportunity just because of how fast those two guys are. So
Yeah.
he seems like he fits right in with this team. Hopefully he can stay healthy because I think I think we're only starting to see a little bit of what he's capable of in this system.
Exactly. And another thing of referencing the Minnesota game, Andrew, this is quite a big of an accomplishment as well. But Jordan Stahl played his 910th game as a Hurricane, and that marks the longest tenure, basically, as a Hurricane player all time, franchise record. Nobody else has played more than 910 games other than him. What do you have to say about that record?
I would say we've talked about this before about how just because of how he leads and how he doesn't always stand off on the stat page or on the stat sheet. Maybe sometimes people kind of take for granted what he's meant to this franchise, what he's meant to this city. And while, the stats aren't going to be as crazy as his brother Eric, and he doesn't have the cup yet, without Jordan Stahl coming here and sticking it out through the dark years, I don't think any of what we've grown to almost take for granted, this consistency of good play, happens. And he's the prototype that I think Brendan Moore has built this team around. So congrats to Jordo. May we have him around for many years because he's still playing at a really high level for what he does for this team.
Yeah, he really is. Like, I mean, once you hit probably your mid 30s, and Jordan Stahl, he's 37 right now. I mean, that's when you start to wonder, like, when is father time gonna kick in? But it hasn't yet for Jordan Stahl, and we know he's the heart. He's the heart of this organization.
Oh yeah, for sure. As someone staring down the barrel of a 35, yeah, it's about this time where all of a sudden your knees start clicking where you stand up. You can't help but grunt when you sit down. But I'm gonna assume he's in a little bit better shape than I am. Not by much, but a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, like what you said earlier when it came to like Jordan Stahl, like yeah, the offense isn't there, but he is still one of the most elite defensive centers, I think, in this NHL. Like he really is that embodiment that Brendan Moore uh wants everybody to play. Like
Yeah, I think if he's in a different market, I think he maybe doesn't win a Selkie, but he's definitely a finalist a few times during his tenure with Carolina.
exactly. Well, that's it for news because again, we have two games to discuss in this episode. But first, we are going to be getting to a sponsor. The NBA season tips off, and so does DraftKings' newest fantasy game. DraftKings Pick 6 is the easiest way to play for big wins, with every possession giving you a shot at real money. Here's how to play. Just pick more or less on two or more stats, and unlock the upside every game brings. Pick 6 is available in Texas, California, Missouri, and more. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. Don't just watch basketball. Cash in. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call, ride the upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick 6, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable. Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. All right, Andrew. First game, the Rangers game. And I will admit, Andrew, I thought coming into this game, I was a little bit nervous. I think part of it was because of the Boston game. I mean, we didn't really get a lot of offensive opportunities in that game. And I mean, it didn't really start out perfect. And I think we also had some certainty of how Kochekov was going to do.
Yeah, and knowing the highs and lows of Kachekov's game, I think we were almost like prepared to let a tough start slide for him. Like if playing against a team like the Rangers, who are kind of desperate to get their mojo going, and MSG has always been kind of a house of horrors for this team. So
Yeah, it has.
the slow start, all the injuries, Kachekov coming back from it. I think this game could have gone a lot of different ways, and instead, I mean, I don't know what's going on with the Rangers. On paper, that's a good team. That team just looks kind of soulless right now, and the fan base was turning on them by like the middle of the third period. I've never seen the Garden that empty for a game that could have turned on a shot or two.
I know. I really couldn't either. But I will admit, as someone who hates the Rangers, I loved seeing it. But I mean, in the first period, like we said, it was a bit of a rough start for the Canes. It seemed like it was pretty much all Rangers, but Hurricanes kind of composed themselves. And Andrew, we've talked about Ehlers a ton. Well, he finally gets his first goal as a Hurricane. What a rocket of a shot, too. And I believe that was on the power play. If I might be wrong there, but I believe that was on the power play.
Yeah, you're right. It was. Yeah. they won the faceoff, beautiful setup play, rocket up a
Mhm.
shot, traffic in front. I think Ehlers has just had some pretty tough puck luck to start the season, and he finally got that bounce off the post that he's been waiting for. And based on how the rest of that game and then the game tonight went, I think he's knock on wood, but it seems like he's off and running.
Yes, definitely. And I think another thing too, like I think what's kind of helped Ehlers a little bit. Well, I mean, he has new line mates. He started to have new line mates in the Rangers game, and it kind of continued with him being on the same line in the Minnesota game. But I really do like him being on that line with Stakeoven and Blake. It provides a lot of speed. Now, you probably need pretty good defensemen behind that line because probably not the best defensive line, but just the offense potential is great.
Yeah, and good on Rod for finally maybe not admitting that it's not going to work because you never know. I'm sure Blend Moore is going to try it again, which
Yeah.
it takes time for these guys to find their groove on a team. We were expecting it from the D-men, and this year just seems to be opposite lane in terms of that. But I mean, Stankoven and Blake, they both have great vision to find a guy with that kind of speed. And maybe Ehlers just did play a step or two too fast for Aho and Jarvis, which I mean, where they're not slow guys, but Stankoven in particular, that kid flies. So
Oh yeah.
seems like maybe he just needed to see a shot going, and now you can just tell again from how the rest of that game and then tonight's game went, he's just playing with a little bit more confidence. The monkey's off his back. So
Yeah,
uh
and it seems like he's starting to shoot more too. Like I don't think we saw a lot of his shooting ability in his first few games with us.
yeah, for sure. Well, I think he got to a point where he had so many opportunities that weren't going in that you start to kind of second guess your own ability and like,
Yeah,
okay, at what point am I hurting the team or just chasing goals for my own stat line? But now that he's seen it go in, hopefully now he's playing with that confidence of he is the player that he knows that he is.
definitely. And in the second period, I mean, this is when we started to see the offensive potential from Sean Walker, as he scores a great goal from Riley and Jankowski. That makes it 2-0. And I mean, that was a really good goal too.
Yeah, I think of all the guys who have been pivotal to this season, not just absolutely falling apart, somehow Walker has kind of slipped under the radar in terms of who we're giving our praise to. I mean, yeah, there's the rookies. Nikishin has absolutely stepped up in this scenario, and we know what Chatfield brings to the table. But I remember saying early on in the season, and I do still kind of think this, that I like Sean Walker a lot, but top pair Sean Walker worries me. He's starting to make me look kind of silly for saying that because he's been awesome, and even though it's only the last two games, it's really been like points. Without his steadiness in the defensive end, this season easily could have tail spin with everything that's happened.
It definitely could have, especially just with all the injuries on the blue line and all that type of stuff. But yeah, uh, Sean Walker, he's playing amazing. He's playing like he did right before he got injured, I think, in the playoffs last year, like that good. And obviously, like this started in the second period, Andrew. I'm sure you know what I'm about to bring up here, but it started in the second period and went into the third period. But there was a long stretch where the Rangers could not get a shot on goal at all, and I was like, that's probably that's the type of style that I will admit I really love when it comes to Brittamore's system.
Yeah, Brendan Moore really cares about us fans, and he knows that rest is important. So he tries to have those 10-15 minute periods in a game where if you want to take a nap, don't worry, you're not missing a thing. And that was
Yeah,
definitely one of those games where the first 30 minutes, this is great. Clock out. The boys got it from here.
yeah, because well, I think what makes it impressive is because of all those injuries that you have on the blue line. Like you wouldn't expect Legault or Nystrom making these great defensive plays. And it's not like we haven't seen it before. We have seen it because they've been playing pretty good before that Rangers game. But I thought they kind of elevated their play in that Rangers game.
Yeah, I agree. I think it could just be something as simple as they've been here long enough that feeling that I'm guessing they had, no, going into this year thinking, maybe you'll get called up in game 81 just when we're resting guys. No, you've been up here for a handful of games and pretty pivotal early season matchups. So that feeling of, holy crap, I'm in the NHL, that's gone now. This is just them playing hockey. And the strides those two have made, the second we're able to send them both back down, please. But that being said, I think they've shown that they definitely have a very bright future in this league.
Yeah, they really do. They're very impressing me. And then obviously third period, you have Jarvis with such a tenacious play of him going up trying to get the puck. He puts it into the empty nets, 3-0 shutout. And the fact that the Rangers have like what, 4 shutouts against at home, like that's I can't imagine a team in today's NHL having that type of record, Andrew. I just can't.
Yeah, no, and not a team like them where they have guys like Panarin, and even though he's hurt now, like Trocheck, or the former first overall pick in Lafreniere, who seems to have just absolutely disappeared.
Yeah.
Which is kind of surprising because in that last playoff series we had against him, he was really kind of the X factor. I know, we all still have nightmares about, Kreider's big third period in game 6,
Yeah.
but it was Lafreniere, who really kind of pushed them over the hump. So I don't know what's going on there. Obviously, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Mike Sullivan as a coach and everything that he did. I just think maybe the ownership doing, kind of not really honoring guys' contracts and their no move clause and kind of bullying guys like Trouba, like Barclay Goodrow out the door. Maybe it's just kind of throwing off the vibe in the room and no one really feels like they're safe.
Exactly. I kind of have that suspicion too about that type of culture amongst the team. The last thing I want to talk about, I know we kind of start talking about him a little bit with Kachekov, but I think every Hurricanes fan would know at the end of that Rangers game, he was probably the best player on the ice for the Hurricanes because he was making very, very good saves. Yeah, the quality of saves, he didn't have to hardly do anything throughout the probably the last half of the second period and into the third. But the first half, man, he was putting up very wonderful saves, Andrew. And that's the player we need. That's the player we need.
Yeah, that first period, frankly, it was a little bit sloppy from the guys in front of him, and he had to
Yeah.
bail him out. But that's a goalie's job, and his biggest thing has always been, he'll make all these incredible saves, and that little softy one will get in, and then he just starts to overthink. So for him to come back from an injury, no, not only is Freddie playing good, who he thought, these they're teammates, but deep down, they're fighting for the same spot. So there's a healthy respect there, I'm sure. But Freddie looks good, and then this guy Busty comes in from out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and is now the prettiest girl at the ball with the fan base for really kind of saving the season. Like, he could have freaked out, but he faced down his fellow countryman in Shesterkin and put up a shutout in New York. And that's, never mind the skill to do it, just the mental toughness to do it. Incredibly impressive, and a great sign that hopefully he has taken that big a step, because it's never been about athleticism or ability. It's all about in the head with him.
Yeah. And I was just very happy with that. And we talked about like the third goalie situation a lot in the last episode, really, really in depth. I still encourage you guys who are listening to this to listen to that episode of our thoughts. But because I've heard some Canes fans talk about this, Andrew, with the fact that Bussy's playing so good, we should just trade Kachekov. No, I do not believe in that. You need all the depth you can get, and honestly, you don't know the uncertainty with Anderson. He could get hurt in the next game or the game after or whatever. It's nice to know that you have 3 reliable goalies.
Yeah, I think you need at least 3. How they navigate the waiver situation with them moving forward, we'll see. From what I understand, they're just planning on carrying 3 on the roster, which
They are.
is less than ideal, but it's a lot better than losing either of those 2 for nothing. We'll see how they decide to roll with it, but again, really appreciate Bussy for what he's done. But Kochetkov, if he can claim the moment eventually, he should be the future of this team. He really should be.
Yeah, he really should. And I did find this out after I recorded our last episode, but when it comes to Bussy's contract, we can only sign him starting January 1st. It's not like we can sign him right now. The date for us to get him signed that starts on January 1st. So we'll see how they does. That does create more complicated things just because there is a bit of a time frame there, a time gap between now and January 1st. But that's it for the Rangers game. And Andrew, that Minnesota game, that was to me a weird game because it felt like the first half of that game was just hectic. And then the last half was kind of probably the type of game we expected, you know?
Yeah, I'm sensing a bit of a trend here where the Canes just kind of get into a track meet, they get a lead, and then they're able to basically just play the entire game in like the middle of the rink and against the walls because back and forth game, it was crazy. It was looking like it was going to be like a 7-8 game. And then once they finally broke through with that fourth goal, like I wouldn't go as far as to say they shut it down like did against New York. But I mean, at no point in that third period did I feel particularly worried. And
Yeah.
Minnesota's a good team with one of with at worst a top 5 forward in the league, and their power play was absolutely clicking.
Yeah, it definitely was. But yeah, I mean, in that first period, I mean, we had 5 goals in that first. We had Matt Boldy scoring. I heard some people saying that they blame Anderson. I think Anderson has a part to blame in that Boldy goal, but I think the players in front of him had, I would say, probably at least an equal amount to blame on. That's because I didn't think the defense was good in front of Anderson on that first goal. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that's fair. We've talked about this before where I think sometimes how good they are at suppressing shots almost comes back to bite the goaltenders because they have so
Yeah.
long to kind of sit there and wait. And then that first shot comes in, or in this case, the first shot, the second shot, great save on the third, fourth shot, go in. And
Yeah.
just as the goalies can't really get into a groove. The slightest a little bit of a breakdown, and all of a sudden you're going from, basically making sandcastles in your crease to now you're having to make a 10 bell save. So you would like to see him have it, but I think we got to at least hold the guys on the ice accountable, like you said.
Yes, definitely. And obviously, we tie it up just because that's how this first period went. But Jackson Blake, he comes in all alone and he just shows how great he is, Andrew. And the fact that he just comes into the zone, he kind of uses, I believe it was Jared Spurgeon that was kind of trying to poke the puck away, but Blake wisely uses him as a screen and he shoots it far wide. What a great goal that was.
Yeah, he's showing no sign of any type of sophomore slump. You can tell that he definitely hit the gym in the offseason. He's been a lot more aggressive in the middle of the ice, is still great on the puck, and he's got a bit of a goal scorer's touch. And I think last season, like, yeah, he was scoring, but he seemed like he was going to be much more of a facilitator role player type. Maybe not, man. I think he's actually one of the more offensively skilled guys on this team. He's just not particularly flashy about it.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. But obviously, again, Minnesota scores. Yeah, Brock Faber scoring. Now, to me, that's a goal where I probably 100% blame on Anderson because I think that's a goal he probably should have saved.
Yeah, that's the one we're looking back on it. I would say that's one you gotta have. The first one, iffy. Second one, gotta have it. Third one, which we're gonna get to, zero chance. So the tale of a different goals for Freddie.
Definitely. But obviously, the Canes, I mean, what's great, yes, you had Minnesota scoring, but you have the Canes answering right back just because their goalie wasn't playing good at all in the first period. Again, I thought both goalies kind of got composed after that first period, mainly. Um, and and you had Svechnikov kind of doing the same thing with Blake a little bit. He comes into the zone and he uses probably the defenseman as a bit of a screen, and he shoots it. And actually, I'm telling you, Svechnikov, he has been playing well. He's turning it around.
Yeah, it's hard to believe this is the same player. But that's a goal that a guy doesn't score unless he's feeling confident in his game.
Yep.
Because Svech 2 weeks ago is probably putting that puck behind the net and trying to figure it out from there. No, he has the confidence in his ability and says, "Hey, if I can take the shot, take the shot. This is what I'm paid to do," and it's going in. So hopefully he can keep it up because I think of all the X factors on this team, if Svech can reach his potential, I think that's the biggest thing this team needs if they really want to make a run this year.
Exactly. And I'm sure you noticed too, there was a bit of a difference with the lines from the Rangers game to this game. You had Taylor Hall playing on the with Aho and Jarvis in the Rangers game. To be honest, I mean, even though we won that game, I really had a lot of complaints about that game. I wasn't the biggest fan of grouping those guys together. I felt like it made more sense with the lines that we saw tonight against Minnesota, because I actually thought Taylor Hall played pretty good with Stahl and Marnook, but it just shows how good Stahl and Marnook are. They can play with anybody.
Yeah, I think maybe just with how the Boston game went, maybe Rod just wanted to put a little bit of a veteran presence on that top line going
Yeah, maybe.
into MSG. Again, the Rangers, who I can't believe, you hate to call it gutless, but like I was very underwhelmed with just the effort from them outside of the first 10
Oh
minutes.
yeah.
So that's probably what Rod was thinking. But I mean, him in the top six had run its course. He had a couple of passes in the New York game where he was just like just a step too slow and just not frankly not cutting it. At this point in his career, he's a bottom six guy with the skill to occasionally have a breakout game, and there's nothing wrong with that. We need guys like that, but he's
Yep.
back where he belongs. And now that Svech is actually playing the way he's supposed to, he's where he belongs.
Exactly. Because now if you put Svetch with Aho and Jarvis, he's the guy that provides that physicalness on that first line. And I thought that line played very, very good. It seemed like almost every shift tonight in the Minnesota game, they were dangerous. And then you have Sean Walker scoring, Andrew. That was a great goal too. I mean, that to me that was like a snipe just from the very top of the zone right there. He's putting on some great offense.
He's just putting on some great play in general. Yeah, I really can't say enough about how impressive he's been the last few weeks. I've already said it, but without him, who knows where the season is right now? Maybe they've had to make a drastic trade, but
Yeah,
yeah, he has absolutely kept this team afloat. It's not just him, but as far as the guy who I think is finally getting his flowers for what he's done, I'm happy that he was the first star tonight.
yeah, I was too. And even though I love that goal, to me the thing that remember him the most from that Minnesota game was that amazing defensive play. I mean, Minnesota could have scored right there. I believe it was Kaprizov to I'm forgetting the Minnesota player, but he had a wide open net, and Walker so wisely tries to deflect the puck to where it doesn't go in the net but goes outside the net. Because I mean, we've had bad luck before in previous games, but man, that was such a great defensive play, and he's just a monstrous player, both offensively and defensively. So I know we talked about him a ton in this episode, but I just want to praise him for that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we're talking about him in this episode because I was thinking about during this game, like, how much have we really talked about Sean Walker? We've talked about how great Nikishin is. Chatfield goes without saying the rookies are doing their thing, but if you're sick of hearing us talk about Walker by the time that this episode's over, then good. We should have been doing it this whole time. Like just crazy performance from him in a pretty tough scenario to begin with.
Yes, definitely. Now, another thing I want to talk about in the first period, because I had to talk about this, but obviously, uh, a scary incident happened with Chatfield.
Mm.
And we saw that hit, I believe, by Pitlick. And I will admit, I thought that was a very, very dirty hit because it didn't seem like he didn't make it known that he was going through the body. And To me, that's how I saw that hit. And the refs looked at it, and you know what? I will praise the officials here. I thought they got the call right with the match penalty.
Yeah, even if you want to argue it wasn't dirty, it was definitely reckless. It was definitely
Yeah,
irresponsible. It wasn't like Chatfield was going through the middle of the ice with his head down. He was, you know, this is where all the old meatheads in the game will say that, oh, well, he was watching the pass. Like it just left his stick. Like you're gonna do that, but yeah, direct blow to the head. I know that Stahl technically does instigate the fight, but that happens in every single game where that kind of hit happens, and you don't always see that call being made. And
I
the
hate
only
the
complaint,
instigator penalty. That might be a hot take, but I hate it.
yeah, no, I did not like it in that scenario. I don't like it in general usually, unless it's like something so obvious where it's a guy who's
Yeah,
like trying to skate away and he keeps getting goaded.
but
No,
that
you
rarely
you you go back.
happens.
Yeah, exactly. You go back and watch that, and you could tell that he knew that that Stahl was coming. He was ready. He was looking at the ref, kind of laughing while it was going on. But good on Stahl.
Oh yeah, I will say, like, I mean, we know Stahl every once a season he'll get his hat trick, and I'm happy for him getting the hat trick. But I will say I think that fight that Stahl made with Pullock, I was probably the most proudest person on planet Earth for Jordan Stahl for standing up, because I mean that has been a little bit of concern with this team as when it comes to standing up for their players after a big hit, and Stahl delivered. And I love seeing that from the captain. I really, really do.
Yeah, and it's cool that I mean, obviously, the most important thing is we hope that Jalen's okay. That was a scary
Yes.
hit, and that's the biggest thing. Second biggest team is I hope that Charles Alexis goes in and spend too much time packing his bag because he's probably
Yeah.
going to be here for a little bit longer. But for Jordan to make a statement like that while he becomes the longest tenured Hurricane, that was kind of fitting. You wish it could happen differently. You wish it could have been one of those hat trick games, but oh, captain, my captain, salute.
Oh yeah, I did. I saluted him hard. Another thing too. Obviously, we get to the second period. I mean, early on in the second period, it was very eventful, Andrew. But eventually, it got to probably that type of style where there wasn't really a lot of much action, even though I still thought the Canes played good. But you have Matt Boldy scoring again on the power play. That just shows how lethal Minnesota's power play. But there was no chance for Anderson to save that goal, like what you said earlier.
No, that was a perfect playing a video game on easy mode
Oh
type
yeah.
type of goal where just the perfect deflection somehow in the corner it goes that angle. They could try to do that 10 times and are going to miss more often than not. So just a great play by them. Freddie had no chance, but the Canes did it again and bounced back immediately.
Yes, they did. And then you have Ehlers scoring again. I was so happy to see that. I was kind of like, when I saw that play, I was like, okay, I see Ehlers over there. I hope he passes to him because he's wide open, and Blake does because he has excellent vision. He knows Ehlers is all alone, and it was just a great place. 2 goals in 2 games for Ehlers, Andrew.
Yeah, Ehlers finally seems comfortable. He's looking
Yep.
to shoot, not just looking to pass it to a teammate. The top six in general, man. The bottom six really carried them to start the season, but they're all starting to figure it out here. So knock on wood for a little bit of health. We get some demon coming back. The goaltending holds up, and let's see if they can't go on a bit of a run here and give themselves a little bit of a cushion to start the season.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, obviously, I mean, even though we won the game 4-3, I mean, I thought we saw more of a fight back from Minnesota than we did with the Rangers. And I'm sure you would agree with that.
Mhm.
Um, I will say I did get a little bit concerned when it came to the final 2 minutes because it seemed like Minnesota was really buzzing there, but we won.
Yeah, last ditch effort. They pulled the goalie. Obviously a
Hmm.
team like Minnesota who like definitely a top heavy roster, but they got a lot of potent offensive players on that team. So it
They
was
do.
definitely a concern. I think we need to give credit to Freddie because it would be very easy for him to get in his own head, giving up 3 goals in the first 4 shots. And then from there, just absolutely shut it down and had to make some really tough saves in the process.
Yeah, he did. And I like what Tripp said during the game in the fact that once we knew this game was kind of in chaos in the first period, Tripp was like, it's going to come down to which goalie can kind of fit fix their starting goalie position role there. And Anderson definitely came out on top over Gustafson.
Yep, and rather convincingly too. I think the goaltending was talked about a lot before the season started as being the big question mark. I would have to disagree. I think we have 2 bona fide options and 1 new guy who seems like in a pinch could come in and win you a big game. So just gotta hope for health with these guys, man. But right now, I think Carolina's goaltending situation is among some of the better ones in the league.
Yeah, it definitely is as of right now, because we
As
know
of right
goalies can
now.
change. That's just one position, Andrew. Like it's so hard to predict. I don't want to be in a position where I have to predict goaltending.
Yeah. I will gladly take the hot take bait on that one.
Yeah.
Carolina goaltending, top 5 in the league. Book it
Okay.
and don't call me out later.
Oh no, that's fine. Hey, listen, I enjoy all these hot takes, but yeah, hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you guys Monday.
Thanks, y'all.